So what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and get started. It's 2:01. If you have questions, please type them into the chat box, and I'll try and keep an eye on that throughout the session, and we'll cycle back to any questions at the end. We have a few announcements, a lot of transition going on right now. I'm very sorry to say that Gad Krumholtz, our senior software developer here at Texas Digital Library, is no longer with us as of about an hour ago. Today was his last day, and we wanted to cut him loose and not make him just sit here till closing time today if he handed in his keys and all that. But he has a great opportunity here in Austin, and he is moving on. In addition to that, I believe I need to remind everybody that we have canceled the training session for July. Obviously, if you're here, you know that Vireo 4 is not at a completed state, so it's a little premature to be trying to train people on it. But we'll be sending out some more messaging on that, and I say this because I was grabbed by the lapels today and asked when the July training was. And so I said, oh, I need to get another message out. Our final announcement, I'm going to let Stephanie go ahead and handle. It's kind of chair of the VUG sort of news, so I thought she should chime in.
Can do. Thank you, Ryan. I just wanted to let everyone know that we have a change in the VUG steering committee. Billy Peterson, who's now on the line from Baylor, is our new co-chair. So we do still have David Reynolds was the previous co-chair, and from Johns Hopkins, and he will remain a steering committee member. So I just wanted to let you know that. And so other than Billy and I and David and Ryan is ex officio, we also have Joy Perrin is the other steering committee member. She's on the line as well for Texas Tech. So I wanted to welcome Billy and thank her very, very much.
We're going to continue on with the demo today. And I think henceforth, until something changes, James will be leading these. I'll do the little welcome and intro, but I believe by default, James is now, will always be the guy who is doing the demo. So from here, I guess I'll hand it over to James.
All right, thanks, Ryan. And today we'll be demoing some functionality around setting up the workflows on the organizations, and also a little bit more on the actual submissions and listing those out for the students and for the administrators to see. So, as I typically do in these demonstrations, I'll start out by kind of building a little fake organizational hierarchy that will be the test bed for our demonstration. And the first card we have on the docket today is this VIR 239. As a manager, we'd like to be able to update those field profiles. So that is, make changes to the field profiles, maybe their predicates or their glosses or something, and have those changes to be inherited by child organizations that haven't themselves actually done their own overriding or removal of those field profiles. So if somebody does their own customizations, don't blow those customizations away, but otherwise have those changes be inherited. So just bear with me for a moment as I construct a hierarchy here. So we'll come down to the Bachelor's of Geometry degree for the sake of argument. Go to manage its workflow, and perhaps on the it's geometry, yeah. So maybe on the file upload, let's say that the field profile for the manuscript in PDF, it now changes to geometry in PDF or some such. All right, so change the gloss there, make that update. So I do see that change having been made there at the Bachelor's of Geometry level. At the, so I've overwritten it there, but at the sibling degree here, the Bachelor of Numbers, we do have the original profile still there. Now let's come up to the Department of Mathematics, and let's actually make an override here. And we'll see that it gets inherited at geometry, or I'm sorry, it does not get inherited at geometry, which already made its own override, but it will at numbers, which hasn't done an override yet. So make a change at this level. There it is, okay. And so the Bachelor's of Geometry on that same workflow stuff is going to retain its customizations. Customizations are still in place. Come over to Bachelor of Numbers, and we'll see that it has inherited the customizations from the parent, as it has no customizations of its own. So, Stephanie, just for BIR 239, is that meeting your expectations for inheritance of field profiles in the hierarchy?
Yes, it does.
Thanks. All right, and so next we'll be on this card, BIR 226, which has to do with the overrideability of these workflow step components. And what some superior organizations, what some parent organizations may want to do is make their components not overrideable, so that all the subordinate organizations will be required to include those components. So the story here is I'd like to be able to make my field profiles and notes non-overrideable, so subordinates cannot alter them. So I'll come back to my admin view here. We'll go up to the Department of Mathematics again. And we'll say, perhaps on the personal information, that in this department, we do require that you provide your email exactly this way. So field profiles overrideable, so it's not overrideable. Make that update. And now, how about a note? We'll say that the main note is also going to have to be according to our specifications. So I'll make that non-overrideable. Make that update as well.
James, can I stop you for a second? I noticed at just right under the workflow, before these fields, they're up in the right, it says, oh wait, that's delete, not delete workflow step, but the other one, workflow step is overridable. So you have the option of just saying this entire, everything in this little drop down here, this little bar is either not overridable.
That's
and you
right.
would, in order to, let's see, okay, so nothing, there would be nothing, all of them, by default, whatever, could not be overwritten.
Right.
So is it, never mind, I guess that, okay. That's fine, I'm sorry, I was just getting a little confused and stuff, so you can either do it by the whole entire thing. And is that going to set those individual pieces, if you go into them, or are they all going to say no? Nope, oh, you can't override.
Yes, don't worry, we get confused about this too, and we're developing it. So,
Okay.
Notion would be that if you, and this was demoed in a previous sprint, if you make the workflow step non-overridable, then you'll see this list of all the things under it, but you won't be able to edit any of it.
Right.
Okay, so let's see what I did over here. I've made this email to be non-overridable, and similarly on this note here for name, I made that non-overridable as well. And now let's look at the child organizations, these degrees here. So if I go to the geometry one and look at its workflow, I'm going to say, oh, I'd like to edit the email. Oh, wait a minute, this field profile is not overridable. Similarly, I go into that note, I edit the name. Oh, looks like the note is not overridable. So that is how the parent organization can prevent changes at that kind of rather fine level of granularity. If we come back again then to the department, we'll say, well, we've gotten some feedback from some of those degree programs. They really want to change this, so we'll set that back to be overridable, that update. And similarly, we'd like to be able to kind of customize the way people input their names with the notes, so we'll make that overridable as well. And now we come down to the children again. Under this Bachelor's of Geometry, you see that now we do have the capability, once again, to edit to that email field profile as well as to that name note that was previously made inaccessible to us.
James, can you go back and open the email one, whatever number 4?
Yes, and we're again at the child degree here.
Right.
So, no.
Okay. I think I was, okay, when we talk about overridable, we mean sort of what the label is or whether it has the control, everything that we can see here. The piece that I don't see and I don't remember whether it's been developed or it's in a different spot is like, what if you didn't want to collect email information? So is it going to be on the workflow or not? Oh, that would be, you would just put it in the trash, is that right?
Well, you would delete it, that's right.
Okay.
Okay. So for toggling fields to be overridable, is that going to meet your expectations on the field profiles and notes?
Yes.
Thanks. All right, so next up, we're going to start looking at these submissions again. And we have this card that's kind of left over from the last sprint because we did see it in action, but we haven't actually moved the card over yet, so we'll go through the motions on that again. Just to make it look good, I'm going to come back to my organizational hierarchy here, and I'm going to add a workflow step. So a new workflow step now on this particular program. And now I'm going to come over to the student side. Oh, I do have to make submissions open though, so I'll come to the application settings and I'll open submissions. Oh. Takes a moment to populate my user. And we'll go ahead and start a submission at that particular degree. And here we see this customized workflow step list at the top of the page. And there's the custom workflow step right there. So I know we saw this last time as well, Stephanie, but I ask if that meets your expectations.
I think so. Okay. Let's see.
Workflow steps?
An ordered list of workflow steps. So that's very much like the current Vireo. Yeah. Yes, it does. I understand.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and just so I can get a more robust list here, what I'm going to do is go ahead and start another submission. There it is with the less customized list of workflow steps. And then I'll come over to the admin side. I should say what we're going to demo now is this VIR 147, the list of ETDs. And this is just going to be the ability for the admin to see a list of all the ETDs that are in the system. We are going to do, of course, our next bit of development on this feature set for sorting and filtering and customizing this list. But at this time, we're just going to go to the list view and see that we do have a list of the existing submissions in the system. So that's the admin list view, and a lot of this functionality is still to do because the submissions are not yet getting fully formed because that workflow, that submission workflow is not quite done. The students aren't actually able to work through it and save their submissions at this stage of the game. So that's going to be some future development. But naturally, this will fully filled out when all that information is available on the submissions. There's a submission object in the background, a list of submission objects in the background that's populating this list. So for VIR 147, an admin list of ETDs, is that fulfilling expectations, Stephanie?
Yes.
Then, finally for today, I'm going to close submissions so that I can come back to the student side. I see now that I have this clicker to get to my submission history. I'm going to go there. I'm actually going to see a list from the student's point of view. And these are the submissions that have been submitted by this particular student. So it's basically the same list with slightly different data from a student perspective. And when we fill out this feature set, we'll of course be able to take actions that would then bring you into the workflow at specified points.
And James, what the expectation is that it's going to work like Vireo 3 does in terms
Yes,
of like
absolutely.
the notices or whatever, you can't, whatever. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of development on that one in Vireo 3 and stuff, so it should carry over. You guys are building the same stuff, the same functionality. It's just coming later. Is that right?
That's absolutely our intention, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Looks good.
All right, so that's the last demoable card we have on this for today, the student being able to see a list of their submission history. And for just the listing functionality, is that going to meet your expectations?
Yes.
Thank you so much. All right, and the remainder of the cards that we see on this last sprint are the kind that we don't like to make because they're not really demonstratable. But these, I can say, were kind of laying the groundwork for being able to complete that set of functionality around the student submission side of things. And we should be able to come up with a lot more nice demonstratable features surrounding the submission workflows based on some of these preliminary jobs we've done. So, unless there are any questions, that wraps up our demonstration of this sprint.
I have a question.
have a question from Renee, I see. So with notes, will we be able to place them on the page where we want them? Or will they all start at the top of the page and just be in a list that way? So how it's, yeah, the way it works now. Are you going to be able to anchor it on part of the page in any way? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Do you guys have any plans for adding that functionality or?
Well, right now, and in Vireo 3, I'm pretty sure, I think all that you could do was order the notes, and then they would appear on the side just in the order that they were given. So all the notes would kind of float to the top of the page.
Right.
I do think it would be a cool feature to like pin the notes to a particular field profile, but that opens a whole other can of worms, because what if you pack in your notes real close and have one on each field profile? How do you handle the spacing on those field profiles? You might have a lot of white space that the notes would force. So
right.
Not a lot of easy answers there. You could introduce like another entity that would be like a section heading, and then attach the minutes to that. But what I would say is if we're going to want to do some nice, clean features around that, we need to get some specific requests and try to size them and prioritize them based on your recommendations.
I think that this,
Right.
it smells an awful lot like a feature request to me at this point. And I don't want to deny Renee her because she's asked for it for years, I think, at this point. But I at this point, we need to complete the stories we've got, and breaking up fields and having to worry about all that, it sounds a little challenging. But one of the things that 3 or 2 was supposed to do is have the information for each area available. And that's something we can work on talking about, what if that's inadequate, or if we're having actual challenges for users using the site based on location of the notes, and how we think about those notes versus user information. But I do want to stick my big nose in and just be careful as we think about, because I heard us starting to describe a feature request, and that's always when my alarm bells go off.
Thank you, Ryan. I agree, but I think one thought that I was having with that question is sometimes there's just sort of things that are kind of just a feature, a nice little thing that just kind of happens by default or something. It's kind of like the drag and drop of the trash.
Yes.
I mean, are we dragging and dropping things as this goes along? So I think, so I was more thinking in terms of, is that just part of what this is going to be, and not so much can we add that in. So I totally, yeah, if it's not already part of the whole thing or anything, it is outside the scope of this particular sprint. So not sprint, but development cycle. So oops, Renee has a serious problem. Well, you are able to customize your notes. But maybe just the arrangement of Renee, I'm sorry, in case anyone cannot see your text. So you have a serious problem with how students enter the committee information, and they aren't seeing our sticky that gives them the info that they need. So hopefully, I don't know, we don't know exactly how this, the workflow, maybe it will be more visible to students in this next one, but.
This is Jeremy. I'm just going to throw this out here because this is a piece of free functionality that will come with Vireo 4 that wasn't present in Vireo 3, and that is the ability to, well, actually, I guess it was in Vireo 3. Could you arrange the field profiles, the fields in Vireo 3?
I think they were in a fixed order in Vireo 3.
Okay, then that would be the case. The ability in Vireo 4 to reorganize the order in which a student encounters each independent field on a specific workflow step might open up an opportunity to take a field that is relative to a certain note and move it further down or further up the page to try to get it closer to the relevant note. It's not, totally, being able to just put a note right where it needs to go, but it might be able to help in that regard in some small way.
Thanks, Jeremy. That sounds like that was an excellent suggestion. So, do we have any other questions? I hate to ask the question, but I think it's probably on everyone's mind. And if this is like out of the scope of our demo today, that's fine. I mean, I haven't talked to the rest of everyone. I haven't talked to the touch base really with Ryan or the development team since they knew that GAD was today was his last day. So, just wondering how that's affecting. If you see that that's going to affect the development cycle in any way. If so, how? And if that is totally out of scope, then I understand. I just think that might be the question that everyone is thinking about.
I mean, I'd be shocked if losing a productive developer didn't impact us somehow. I don't know, you know, I was talking to Christy about this yesterday, and what I told her was, we'll know the most by how, you know, if we're going by story points, you know, we have an actual mathematical calculation of the velocity of you know, how much it's impacting us. I think the question is, so once we have that calculation and we are kind of know how many story points we've actually got left, you know, what is the burn down then after that? And I think we can take a look at this sprint and maybe the next sprint, and I hate to push it out a full 6 weeks, but the sprint maybe after that, and we'll be able to get kind of a feel for the velocity, would be my opinion. We are trying to hire. I need to talk to James about how that would even work, trying to rev somebody up and insert them into the project at this point. I mean, I think the answer is yes, this is definitely going to slow us down, but I can't say at what rate yet. James probably has a smarter answer than that.
I think that's just fine. I mean, what you've said is just fine. So it's just kind of an unknown, and we'll be seeing how it works out. So I don't know. We don't need anybody to make a guess. So that's all. Just wondering. Yeah. I don't think I have any other questions. I
mean, I guess, you know, one of the things that I am heartened by is that A&M, you know, we kind of had to build that core portion of Vireo 4 that would handle all these workflows, and I can't remember if it was 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks ago that James and William showed up with that in fully functioning, and everything builds off of that. So I do feel confident that, you know, now we know we're building from here on out, and there are some difficult things. I know the filters are coming up, and that's never fun. And then, you know, we're gonna have to worry a little bit about the export feature, but worry a lot about it. But we do know what the challenges are coming up, and I think that, you know, the community should have confidence that with or without GAD, you know, we've got some crackerjack developers working on this, and we'll pull through it.
Without a doubt.
If that is our demo for today, then I guess we are wrapped. I talked to Laura Waugh, and she's gonna go ahead. I'm recording this now. We're gonna go ahead and put this up on the usual locations, which now includes our repository and the TDL site for Vireo. No, I think it goes to the Vireo ETD site. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close it down for this week. If you have any questions, definitely get in touch with the Vireo user group, or go ahead and reach out to Stephanie, and she can answer all questions you have about any topic at all, totally. So
you betcha.
So we're here for you, for the community, and we'll let you know more about what's going on with hiring when we know. So thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
You're very welcome. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Oh, James,